Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
Forever and ever.
Hi, my love.
Hey, baby.
What's going on?
So I'm going to try something different today.
Okay.
So we start in the beginning and we, have a little side chit chat.
Okay.
I wanted to just let everybody know what the topics were. So that way they're like, okay, I know what's coming next. What you think about that?
What if they I'm good on that.
Well, then fuck them. So when we get into our topics today, we're going to be talking about the difference between masculine and feminine energy. And then the last spicy topic is going to be about communicating your kinks. So we're going to talk about freaky shit at the end.
Yeah, I know how y'all feel about that.
Not you going like this. What was that? A sign for like tickling your balls?
I didn't say anything.
You didn't say, but you gestured.
Well, for the people listening on the audio experience, they didn't.
Well, I just told on you. He made a gesture that was like tickling something.
So, coming back after a week, how was your week off?
Honestly, it wasn't what I expected it to be.
The honesty.
Yeah, because one of the main reasons, it was a hard choice to decide to take a week off. And we knew doing it or not doing it, both of them had cons that we didn't really want to deal with. But ultimately, we decided to just skip a week.
Okay.
So then I was like, let's make the best of it, set ourselves up for like a really good week. And I feel like I still wasn't my best this week. Like maybe I procrastinated in certain things that I shouldn't have. Basically, I wanted to go into this coming week feeling a little bit more rejuvenated and a little bit more prepared and a little bit more on track with things. And I don't really feel 100% that way.
Yeah. I mean, I told you, I'll kind of repeat what I told you, is that we're not used to like living lives where we're kind of like following a strict schedule and even being productive outside of work. Like, I feel like the only thing we've ever given our all is like our 9 to 5s. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to stuff for us, we kind of let it slack.
And that's my issue. Like, I have a problem with that.
And I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm saying when you have decades of doing that, like that, you could call it negative behavior. It's going to take a few trips before you get it down. So I feel like we need to give ourselves some grace and just be like, listen, we're intentional. Like, we want to get there, but it's not going to be like, all right, a switch.
Yeah.
So the biggest step is that we're aware of it. And we're gonna keep trying until we do get to the place where we feel like we're utilizing our time to the best of its ability.
Yeah. I think of when I was teaching and I think of a 6-hour and 20-minute day. I literally taught 5 to 6 classes. I planned lessons. And I think of how productive I had to be in those 6 hours and 20 minutes. And then I'm like, why can't I do that for myself? Like, if I had a super productive 6 hours for the podcast, for now our blog, our merch, so much could get done.
Yeah.
But you're right. It takes adjusting, and it's not like I didn't get anything done. I wrote a blog. We posted it.
We wrote 2, no?
Well, that was last week. They're a week apart.
Well, yeah, but we didn't have an episode. So.
Yeah, we didn't have an episode. Yeah. So 2 blogs were published, which is awesome. Go to westilllikieachother.com. I have a book review, and then I have a reflection about why do people cheat? Why don't people cheat? Because Mr. Travis here got in trouble over on TikTok. You want to talk about that?
It took longer than I thought. A little over a year now, and your boy finally got canceled. It's taking a lot for, I think because I've seen Stephanie get canceled before, I know how to deal with it.
You know what's crazy? Because so many times I'm under fire, right? It's me, and we kind of build the attitude of like, it's just TikTok, like, don't stress it, don't listen to what people got to say, and we kind of brush it off. And even when we create clips, we're like, oh God, they're going to come for you stuff. But now that it's you, it's a little uncomfortable. Like, I feel defensive.
I saw you in those comments. I appreciate it. I didn't say anything, but I feel like you should just let them argue amongst themselves. Yeah. Because now the conversation is like, they're having conversations with each other like, yeah, she's in here defending him. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I don't know. It was an honest moment Like we don't rehearse these things. Like she asked me a question and I
asked you, why don't you cheat?
And I just blurted out the first thing that came to mind. Now, mind you, you all have been here for, what episode is this going to be?
67.
67 episodes. You know how much I love this woman. You know we've had our ups and downs, the hurdles we had to get through, the things we're still going through. But I think it's safe to say that I am madly in love with this woman. And although that answer didn't reflect it, people are judging me on a 45-second clip. And, you know, it was expected. I just didn't think it would turn into this whole thing. People are, you know, doing reactions. And I saw something the other day, like they have like a pretty popular social media following. And they like, honey, someone asked their husband, why don't you cheat? And he gave like the answer everyone wants.
I only desire you.
Yeah. Black men.
It was beautiful.
And then he wrapped it up with some humor. Black men don't cheat. But it's like, in that moment when you asked me that, I just felt like, duh. Like
you were trying to give me a deeper answer. Like we have a relationship podcast. It's not like we're cuddled up in bed and I'm like, babe, why don't you cheat? And you're looking in my eyes and you're like, you're just so beautiful and I don't want anybody else. I think you answered, like you gave a more realistic, logical answer.
And the thing is, y'all wouldn't be here if we were like acting all fake and corny and all lovey-dovey. We have those moments naturally.
Yeah.
But there's some people, and you know who they are, is that they portray an image that's very difficult to keep up. Like I'm sure once the cameras goes off, it's like, all right, don't touch me, bitch.
Yeah.
And whereas like I feel like, you know, we say we're real, raw, and honest, and there's a lot true to that. Like we really hold ourselves to that. So I don't regret it because it's a 45-second clip. You guys have had hours, upon hundreds of hours of time to decide whether or not I love this woman. So yeah, although, you know, the pressure is a little weird, no regrets.
Yeah, I think you did a good job. And I feel like why don't you cheat is probably something we've already discussed privately. You know, like and I wasn't expecting it.
And I'm sure we've discussed it in other episodes.
Absolutely.
It is what it is.
So how was your week, babe, besides getting canceled on TikTok?
You know, smooth week, nothing to report. It was nice to, I was going to say it was nice to not have to think about the podcast, but that's not 100% true.
We're still thinking about the podcast.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about the podcast or the brand or whatever. But yeah, it felt good not to have the pressure of having to promote. Like I still promoted, but because I wanted to, not because I had to, if that makes sense.
I wanted to talk about the live interactive recap. Listen, we've talked about it before. Just the $3 tier on Patreon grants you access to 2 live Zoom calls with us. We were doing them on Thursday nights, but what we noticed is the same people were available because, you know, people's schedules change. So we were like, let's try a different night. We tried Friday night and we got different faces. So it was really fun. Join us. They're fun. We get to talk live. We get to talk about random pop culture things that are happening, TV shows, things in the news.
And one thing I'm proud of, and the other day I was driving and I played the audio and I was just listening in the car and it's enjoyable.
Yeah. So even if you can't join the lives, if you're on Patreon, you get to listen to it after if you like as well. Or watch it.
Yeah, and it's still enjoyable. It's not like one of those things where you feel like you're watching an awkward Zoom call.
Or like a job Zoom meeting. It doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, so if you don't have the time to catch up live, just sign up for the $3 tier and you get the backlog. Yeah,
you get the backlog of all the ones that are there. And it's just an easy way to support us if you wanted to. $3 a month for that tier, or the $7 or $12 tier, which have vlogs. We just posted the Florida vlog. So yeah, check us out on Patreon.
Patreon.
All right, Daddy. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Did you know?
Did I know?
Did you know that Travis could get canceled too?
Did you know? Did you know not as many couples have sex on their wedding night as you think? In the U.S., a survey revealed that over half of couples don't, while in the U.K., it's over a third.
I have no pushback on that. Totally 100% get that.
So I feel like I did feel some pressure for us to have sex on our wedding night.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
I think I did. We did because we had a very small wedding that we planned within 2 weeks, and then we had a little hotel room. And
even the hotel room was last minute.
Yeah, so we kind of felt like we had to take advantage of having a night away from Eli. But we definitely had sex.
Yeah, we definitely had sex. But I'm thinking that it just felt like a no-brainer. I don't know if we're a good example or a test for the.
And I think the reason a lot of people usually don't have sex on their wedding night is they're exhausted. Like if they have really big weddings, exhausted or super drunk. And we were neither of those. We were tired, but we weren't like super drunk or anything like that.
Do you think it says anything if you don't?
No. I find it weird if you're kind of waiting till marriage to have sex and then you don't do it on your wedding night.
That's a whole different topic, huh?
You know what people should do? Like in between the wedding, the ceremony, and the reception.
Go get it in.
They should have sex in between.
For the first time?
Yeah. Just to make sure you're not too tired at the end.
I'd be curious to know if anyone actually waited till marriage.
What do you mean, if anyone? Of course,
like anyone
people
in
do.
Our community.
Oh, like people that listen and watch.
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know or DM us if you don't want everybody else in your business. We want to be in your business. Yeah, that is an interesting conversation to have with someone.
What if you wait till the wedding night and it's whack?
I think if you wait till the wedding night, you don't really have much to compare to. You might feel a little disappointed, like I waited all this time for not much. But I think you got to have grace, especially if your partner also waited.
You know what I think is weird? Is when two people aren't virgins.
But then they decide to
wait till marriage.
That usually happens when people are like born again Christians. Like, like maybe they did their dirt, but now they're saved.
They found Jesus.
Yeah. Or just personal. Some people go on personal journeys of like celibacy just because. So then it won't be whack. They bring back their freak out for the night.
He's like, I just brought this briefcase of toys that I like to.
Isn't that from 50 Shades of Grey? Doesn't he have like a case of stuff?
There's a bunch of movies.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So last week or 2 episodes ago, or the last episode, whatever, semantics. Y'all were commenting on the video a lot. Thank you so much. So if you have a second, you want to drop a comment right now, please do. Maybe after topic 1. What are your thoughts on waiting till the wedding to have sex? I don't know. Drop us some love. It's really helping us with our YouTube views, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. And if you're listening on podcasts, audio applications, leave us a review. 5-star only. If you're going to leave anything else, just keep listening. Hopefully we change your mind.
Yes, absolutely. 5 stars only. All right. You ready for topic 1?
I am.
So we got into a conversation about masculine versus feminine energy on our live Zoom, right? And something I noticed that was happening in our misunderstanding of the topic is that masculine energy, we think of a man, male, like your genitalia, your gender identity as a man. And feminine energy is the opposite, like a gender identity as a woman or being a woman biologically. But we're not seeing them as like characteristics.
And that's what's difficult to wrap my head around, at least, initially.
Yeah. And the fluidity between them, right? So if I say, I tend to have masculine energy, people think that as like butchy or like tykey or like controlling, like I want to be the man. And it's like, not necessarily. There are certain qualities that are considered masculine that don't change your gender identity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I figured we should definitely look into it. And shout out to our patron and follower. I almost said her name wrong. I almost called her Akira for some reason. Arika.
That's from Street Fighter.
Street Fighter? Oh, shit. No, I'm like, why did
Arika, no?
Huh?
Arika or Rika?
I think it's Arika.
Arika. But we call her Ari.
Yes.
Ari, sorry. Akira.
Anyway, she had a lot of insight on it, and she shared an article with me. The The article is called Understanding Masculine and Feminine Energies. I guess we could link it in the description. So I pulled out some information from there that I thought would be interesting for us to talk about, right?
Yeah.
If a female has more masculine energy, she thrives with a partner that is in touch with his feminine side. And a lot of us would think like, a guy that's in touch with his feminine side.
He's a bitch.
Yeah. I feel like our society's understanding of it sees it as like someone who's weak, right? If a male has more female energy, they will respect and be comfortable with their partner.
Sorry to cut you off. Does it say female energy or does it say feminine energy?
It says female.
Okay.
It switches between female, feminine.
I guess that's where it gets confusing for me. When you start saying female. And
you're right. I copied it from the article, but I understand.
Because I was on board with the whole masculine, feminine, but when you start saying female, I'm like, all right, whoa.
Yeah. You feel a little, your ego's threatened a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm reading from the article, okay? You could leave a comment on the article. If a male has more female energy, they will respect and be comfortable with their partners being in the workforce, being in charge, and having a direction in their lives.
Okay.
What happened? That was like a huge gasp.
No, I'm still focusing on the female part.
Okay. I think our society, 21st century, working women, the way capitalism requires 2 incomes in a household is like all women are required to be in touch with their masculine side and be in the workforce and take charge. You know, I obviously believe it should be any woman's choice to be in touch with her masculine energy in that sense. But I feel like it's much more prevalent now because of the social structure, the capitalist society that we live in.
You know, this, I'm sure we're going to dig a little deeper, but this kind of reminds me of, I've had conversations with you. We've had conversations with Jojo and Dyra about like more masculine presenting lesbians, but they'll tend to be like the more emotional ones or the more feminine ones, even though they present.
Yes. So like so that makes the point that your outward presentation doesn't really reflect like your energy in terms of your personality and the role you play within the relationship or even on your own.
Yeah.
Because you can demonstrate masculine and feminine energy just in who you are day to day, not necessarily how you are relationally in a relationship.
Yeah.
It says, on the contrary, females that demonstrate more feminine energy are content with the masculine energy male to take control and be the dominant figure and the decision maker. I feel like you've told me, like, you don't like being told what to do.
I've told you that early on. I feel like nowadays you like would prefer it.
And it's not being told what to do, because it would be different if you just told me what to do, like gave me direction. Like, I need to know why, what's going on.
I'm like, jump. You're like, no, what's down there?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like more so I want you to make a choice, but explain it to me. Hold on. So the writer, I guess he's a coach. He says, when I coach people, we talk a lot about self-awareness and communication because you want to know yourself and you want to communicate your needs to your partner. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so important. Like, what is it that you want? And I feel like sometimes either we don't know what we want or we're afraid to communicate it.
It reminds me of the Notebook. What do you want? What do you want?
And they made all the memes like with food.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what to eat.
That's the biggest problem.
So in thinking about that, before you tell me where you think my energy lies more.
I'm done answering questions because that's how I get canceled.
I'm going to just list some characteristics of masculine energy and feminine energy.
All right, let's go.
When masculine energy is appropriately used, it is creative, practical, and visionary. When masculine energy is misused, it can end in ego, anger, resentment, and have inner conflict. Which makes sense. It's like there's nothing inherently wrong with masculine energy, but it could be overused or I don't know. I'm thinking of like the patriarchy, but it's all wrong. Masculine energy loves direction and purpose. It's competitive and likes to win and break through barriers. It's logical. Masculine energy is all about taking action. Masculine people love building and immediately fixing problems. Masculine energy is protective, and this is why feminine women love it, because they look for a partner to protect them. They want to feel safe, and they are looking for the energy of protection.
So honestly, I'm hearing certain things that I feel like I pick from masculine energy, but I can't say like one sentence is like, oh, that's me to a T.
Yeah. I feel like for you, I see you're definitely competitive. You like to win, right? And not in the sense of like you're a sore loser, but when you do something, you do your best because you don't want to half-ass it. When it talks about taking action, building and immediately fixing problems, I feel like I'm more like that. That you're more laid back, content. You like to let things play out.
Didn't it say something about being content though?
Content? No. It didn't say anything about content.
Oh, about being logical.
Yeah.
I think I'm the logical one.
Yeah. You think so?
What?
So I'm illogical? Damn.
I feel like I can see like an issue, and whereas you're thinking of every issue that'll come after that issue, I'm just like, let's focus on this.
That's not, that doesn't make me illogical or irrational. Maybe I look too far ahead.
Okay. So you don't think that makes me logical?
Not logical, because if anything, a logical person
Would
might
be
think a little bit more ahead. Not just right now. They'll think bigger picture.
Okay.
So I'm more logical. Yeah. And in terms of safety, I feel like as a woman, like I appreciate a man that makes me feel safe. I don't think I need to live in a world where it's required that I need a man for protection, but the reality of it is we kind of do, you know?
I think it's more than just physical safety, right? Because there's strength in knowing when to shut up and not take on the fight, right? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, whereas let's say you're walking down the street and you pass some guys maybe catcalling you while you're with me. Mm-hmm. I don't think the appropriate answer is to like go pick a fight with those guys.
Oh, absolutely not. Because if anything, you're putting me in danger by doing that.
But for some women, that's masculinity. Mm-hmm. That's strength.
I feel like that's misused masculinity. That's like letting your ego like, oh, I can't let him disrespect me and my girl like that. I have to say something.
And listen, I don't know if this is like a stat that, I mean, I'm proud of this stat that I've never been in a fight. Like a real fight. Like someone was like, all right, bro, let's do this. And I got to put my Timbs on, grease up my face.
Yeah, but you also never got like decked and then didn't do anything about it.
That's true too.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think there's something to it that I'm 34 and I've never been in a situation like that. So it's like.
You're right. But I feel like if the time came, like if it was like do or die, like you had to fight.
No, of course.
Yeah.
I'm going to defend myself. Yeah. But I also am proud of the fact that I've navigated life and haven't had to throw these hands. I mean,
big ass hands.
I mean, there's part of me that wonders how I would do, but I'm also like, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Now people are going to be like, you Travis?
Let's fight. Yeah. So I think if you use your masculinity correctly, you make your partner feel safe without having to prove your macho-ness, you know? If that makes sense. Yeah. It does. I need to stop saying if that makes sense.
It makes sense. You have a brilliant mind. Please lean into it, embrace it. You're one of the smartest people I know.
It's imposter syndrome.
I know, but you're one of the smartest people I know. Seriously.
Stop.
No, I'm serious. Okay. Oh yeah, stop. Because listen, if you're unsure of yourself, what are the rest of us supposed to do? And
it's not even that I'm unsure of myself. Like, I feel like my point gets across, but then there's this little nervous part of me that's like, did that make sense? I don't know why. It's a habit.
You gotta be sure of yourself. And if it doesn't make sense, you still stand by that shit.
Or hope that the person I'm talking to is like, can you clarify that? Then I'm like, fuck, it'll fuck me up again. All right, let's talk about feminine energy.
Ooh, I'm nervous for this one.
Feminine energy is receptive and represented by the right portion of the brain. Yet, if we are too much in our feminine, we can come across as weak and lose our personal power. Feminine energy is creative and inspiring. It's the energy that creates life. It appreciates beauty and it stimulates creativity. It's nurturing, it's supportive, like a loving mother.
Shit.
See, that's the thing, because I want that from you, from a partner. Like, I want to feel nurtured and supported and loved. And I don't think that's motherly.
Yeah.
I think it's caring, but it's, I guess.
But I was going to say, I do those things. So
Yeah.
it's like.
I meant it like it's something I want, not that you're lacking it.
Yeah. So I guess I'm in my feminine energy back.
And a lot of times men aren't, when women feel like you're not emotional, you don't share your emotions at all. I know my dad, you know, super out of touch with his feminine energy, like no nurturing bone in his body. He didn't show love at all. So he definitely was 100% out of touch with his feminine energy. So feminine energy desires love and craves to receive love to feel fulfilled. Masculine energy loves feminine energy because she is receptive of his love.
She.
Yeah.
This article, bro.
It made me think that masculine energy, they can give love, but I feel like they're a little more apprehensive and nervous about it because they want feminine energy to receive it.
I was validated.
Yeah, exactly. Feminine energy is fluid, stormy, emotional, passionate, and it flows from moment to moment like waters of a river. That was cute because, you know, our baby river. Feminine energy is intelligent, loving energy that contains the qualities of our compassion, emotion, and empathy. I think I'm compassionate and empathetic. I'm definitely empathetic.
Yeah, way more than me.
You want to talk about that?
You have an example?
I just feel like earlier on in our relationship, you were a lot more selfish or like not empathetic. Like other people's problems, you could very like distance yourself from them and not feel anything.
Is that a me thing or is that a New York thing? Because I just feel like you gotta be focused. Like tunnel vision. I walk past homeless people every day. If I allowed myself to feel
you're desensitized.
Yeah. If I allowed myself to feel like what that means when I stare at that other humans, like that could make you very sad. Like,
listen, I'm empathetic, but I ain't a fool, right? Because then you have the extreme end where someone's so empathetic that they could get conned, right? Like any sob story, like they're like, oh my God, I ain't an idiot. So I have my New Yorker side too, but I still am very empathetic. Like I cry in movies and other people crying makes me cry.
Yeah, you cried like 3 times during Black Panther.
Twice.
2 to 3.
Yeah, so that I could say when it comes to femininity, I definitely have that part.
And we've brought this up on the podcast before, maybe earlier episodes. I used to cry so much as a kid. And I feel like now it's only when I reflect on my childhood that I really get emotional. Or if me
what you remember crying a lot as a kid?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you cried about? What is it that makes you remember it? Like
I just remember like I was easily triggered, kind of like I would say pretty similar to Eli. You know, like Eli came down here earlier. I don't know that Eli came down here earlier because, you know, he was emotional about a game. And I feel like I could get like that as a kid. And it's just as I got older, I've just gotten so.
Why?
Society? It's just not acceptable. It's not, you know, I don't think it's something women want. Although they want you to be emotional. I feel like every woman would say there's a limit. Yeah.
Even so yesterday, my mom is here and Eli was getting a little sassy with us. And, you know, we're in our soft parenting or gentle parenting phase. So I'm trying to correct him from being sassy, but then he kept being sassy and it kind of triggered me. And I felt a little bit of embarrassment because it's like in front of my mom. And, you know, people think like, oh, he don't respect you. So I kind of had to get firm in my tone. And then he got emotional, right? And I had to stop myself because in 1 second I was going to say like, stop crying, right? And I was like, nope. But then I corrected myself and I said, it's okay to feel upset, but we're good. Like we could keep having dinner. Like none of this happened. So when you're ready, I'm ready. Don't think I'm upset with you. So I was like, you can have your moment, but we're okay.
I remember you saying that.
But I almost said, like, stop crying right now. And I kind of was like,
You want me to give you something to cry for?
Exactly. And I feel like I only had one brother in the house growing up. And I remember saying, like, why are you crying like a girl? Stop crying. Like, that was just the way society dealt with boys crying.
I think you should give him a call after this and apologize.
I think I have apologized for that. Maybe not. I don't know. We don't have the best relationship.
Work on that. In the comments.
I also was a kid.
So now the things we do as kids, we shouldn't be held accountable for?
I'm not saying not held accountable, but I give myself some grace. I was literally just repeating what the other adults around me were saying.
To an extent. This is kind of off subject, but it kind of reminds me of kids that bully other kids. And then they get older and obviously they're not bullies, or hopefully they're not bullies anymore. But then the person that was the receiving the bullying is like, I still remember you, motherfucker, and I'm have to go to therapy because of what you did to me. And they're like, oh, I'm healed. I don't,
Yeah, you could still apologize. Like I still have like maybe 2 teachers from high school that I'm like, if I ever saw them, I'd probably hide because I'm so embarrassed for how mean I was and how bitchy I was as a like 16-year-old, that if I saw them today, I'd be like, oh my God, I was such a bitch. But then I could just apologize, right? But then I'm also like, I hope they know I was a kid and forgive me.
Yeah. But also, we always say like the best apology is change behavior. So if after those moments of doing like nasty, negative things, you've kind of lived your life like as a really good human,
Yeah.
Do you give them credit for that, or do you focus on what they did to you personally?
No, I feel like I give people grace. Like I could be very forgiving, to a certain extent. It depends. I feel like luckily I haven't had any experiences with anyone that I'm like, oh, they're unforgivable, except maybe my biological father. And honestly, even that, we've talked about this the other day, like even now, if he was genuinely to call and apologize and try to do things differently, I would still give him a chance. But again,
don't hold your breath.
Yeah, I won't. I don't expect it to happen.
I know. And don't take that as I don't want it to. But listen, I've been here a good amount of time and I haven't seen any sign of that happening.
Exactly. All right. The last thing that it said about feminine energy is that you are strong. When you are strong in your feminine, you have a strong connection to your body and intuition, and you can make decisions based on what you feel in your heart. That's so funny. I just said when we were making the shirts and you were like, how did you know to pull it in that moment? I was like, my intuition. So what do you think about that? Do you feel like you have a strong connection to your body?
I feel like I need some clarification on that. Like, can you give me another example?
Like, can you trust your gut?
I'd say for the most part, it kind of like reminds me of like having street smarts and just knowing like something's off, or, you're walking down the street and you're walking towards a group of people that you're like, this ain't worth it. Let me just cross the street. Like, I feel like, I've had a lot of those moments. And even with kind of being receptive to when things are off between me and you, I'm like really good about that. Like I can
but that's more so you reading my body language than your own.
But being open to receive that, right? Because how many people out there in relationships that could give a fuck what their partner's body language is, or maybe like the way they said something was like, something's not right. So don't you have to like be receptive to that to even read it? So
you can read. I guess that's part of empathy too. So you are a little empathetic.
To you, and that's it.
I definitely do feel like I have a very strong gut when it comes to like reading things, but I have to do better at acknowledging it and respecting that. I feel like sometimes my body and my intuition is telling me something and I'm allowing the logic push me to just do it anyway. Like if something doesn't feel right, but I'm like, but it has to get done. I don't want to do that. Kind of like last week when we decided not to do the podcast, like everything in me was like, I need this week off. Like we planned it. Like, this episode has been planned since last week, but I kind of finished planning right before filming, and it kind of felt rushed. It didn't sit with my spirit yet, and we wanted to drop the merch, and I'm like, we're not ready to drop the merch Monday. But it's like, we talked about it. Like, we need to just do it. And I feel like I allowed myself to listen to my gut and my intuition, and we didn't do it that week. And I'm proud of myself for that, because sometimes I just be like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I do it anyway, and then I end up paying for it in the end.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel that.
All right. So
how are we wrapping this up with the whole masculine, feminine energy? I think much like your sexuality, you're bisexual when it comes to masculine or... damn, I had a better joke. I fucked up my joke, but y'all see where I was going with it.
So my energy is bisexual.
Yeah. Shit, mine might be too.
It is. And it's good. I think that's important, like, for you to have a balance.
Yeah. Do you feel like you wish that I would lean more into one or the other?
I feel like sometimes I'm way too much in my masculine when it comes to structure. For many years, I handled all the bills, and I plan all the family activities. I make sure the house is stocked with everything that we need, and any repair that needs to be done, I might not do it on my own, but I'm handling it. Like, I'm delegating it. Mm-hmm. And I notice all of that gets me overwhelmed. Like, there's burnout, right? So sometimes I do wish you would step more into your masculine just to take some things off my plate. And we've discussed that. And I've never put it in those terms. Like, I've never said, you need to be more in your masculine energy. But with this vocabulary now, I guess it applies to that situation.
And I think although there's language to describe these behaviors, I think be careful on how you have this conversation if you do decide to with your partner.
Yeah, because it's touchy.
Yeah, because if it weren't for this podcast and me and Stephanie were having a conversation about this, and she'd be like, I need you to step more into your masculine energy.
She'd be like, you calling me a bitch?
Bitch. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's important to have the language, but definitely delivery is everything.
There are some things that feminine energy wise, I wish you did more too.
Really? Okay.
Like, just be more nurturing in the sense of rubbing my feet before I ask, cooking me meals sometimes. Yeah, I think that's it.
Feet and meals.
Feet and meals. I want to feel fed and touched.
Noted. I think for me, and I said this recently, we was having a conversation with our friends, and I want to allow you to kind of sit in your feminine energy more and like thrive in it. And
what does that look like for me? Thriving in my feminine energy?
Just because although you do have the feminine energy, I think there's a part of your brain that worries that if you lay here too long, if you enjoy this moment too much, there are things that aren't going to get done in your masculine energy because you worry that I'm not going to step up and handle it. So for me, I want you to feel comfortable in knowing that, all right, I'm in my feminine energy, but I also know that my husband is going to step up in his masculine and take care of the stuff that my left side of my brain worries about. Okay. Yeah.
Makes sense. I appreciate that. I appreciate that understanding.
Now let's just put it into action.
I know that's one other thing, but baby steps.
Yeah.
Let's pay some bills, baby. We got a sponsor this week.
Who's our sponsor?
Our sponsor is us. We still like each other, the brand.
What are we showing off?
So I'm wearing the Ying to my Yang t-shirt.
Ooh.
What are you wearing, babe?
I'm wearing the Whole Latte Love. Can you see it on the camera?
Yeah. And if you're listening, just go to our Instagram. It's also going to be up on our website, we still like each other.com. And when do they release?
definitely Monday. I'm thinking 12 p.m.
Okay.
You
Definitely Monday. November, was that the 21st?
Yep, November 21st. Thinking 12 p.m. right on your lunch break.
Yes.
You're eating your food. You're like, let me get this.
We're dropping these 2 shirts. The black and white colorway is called the Yin to My Yang. The sand and chocolate colorway is called A Whole Latte Love. And we're also dropping a sticker pack.
A 6-pack.
Six pack of stickers, all related to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast, the brand.
Listen, I love the t-shirts. I really love the stickers.
Yeah.
Stickers are fire.
No, but the shirts are fire too.
No, listen, get both.
I've been in my like baggy phase. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I'm wearing actually a size small in the black and I love it. I'm loving the way the size small fits me. Travis is wearing an extra large. We have small
to 2X.
To 2X. If you need a different size, just send us a DM and we'll see what we can do. But we're going to have size small to 2X on the website.
And for this first initial drop, the shipping will only be in the United States. But I know we have listeners from all over the world. Mm-hmm. So if you do want to purchase, just DM us or email us and we'll make it work.
Yeah. So you won't be able to order from the website if you're outside of the US, but you can message us and we can make something work.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yay.
Yeah.
That was our sponsor. Us.
I don't think I have to put paid sponsorship because we're not paying ourselves.
We're not paying ourselves, right?
Yeah. All good, YouTube.
When we really start making money, we could though. That way it's a tax write-off. We like had to pay ourselves to.
We need to bring Cindy back on though.
We need to do all the little tax loops that the rich do. All right, you ready for a topic 2?
Yes.
Communicating our kinks. So this one was, I can't remember what initially inspired it, but then coincidentally, Kiara Luna, who has been on our show a couple of times, she was featured on this article for medium.com and it's called 5 Scary Sex Mistakes to Avoid. And her section was all about suppressing your sexual fantasies. Okay. Right? So I'm going to read a little bit of what she wrote and we'll discuss it. So a lot of partners are really afraid of having real, raw conversations about their sexual fantasies. Part of it is because they feel embarrassed or are afraid of being judged by their partner. Not feeling fully comfortable to speak to your partner about your fantasies leads you to want to have these conversations with other people.
Cheat.
Ooh. Is that cheating though if you just talk?
About your sexual fantasies?
Yeah.
Let's put it to the test.
No, I asked because I was having a conversation with Carter and they kind of asked like if we've ever set actual what is cheating. Like have we ever laid out what cheating is to us? Because some people think it's like anything.
I think that's a good point. But I think if you are doing something that makes you feel like I would be nervous if my partner saw me doing this or read what I was doing.
Or if they were doing the same thing with someone else.
Then it's cheating.
Yeah.
So I think without having to like lay out these are the rules of cheating, go with your gut.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like you could tippy toe into something and then pull yourself out. You get what I'm saying? This is why we have like sexual harassment training at work. But sometimes certain conversations could get a little out of hand. And if it's within a group, it might be okay. But then if there's like one coworker trying to have a follow-up conversation, you're like, well, why you shaking your head up and down? Yes, like you can relate.
I don't talk about work on this podcast.
All right. But yeah, I feel like we just have to, I feel like especially us, because we do have a podcast where we talk about relationships. We talk about sex. People probably come up to us talking about these topics.
Yeah, but it's different. Like, I feel like a lot of people, even in my workplace that do listen to us, it's usually like the relational stuff. Mm-hmm. That's fine. And then depending on our relationship, I'm okay with the conversation maybe going a little somewhere else.
Yeah.
But not with everyone.
Yeah.
And I think even outside the workplace, I don't know. I think outside the workplace, I'd be a lot more open to it. Like
Yeah.
if just a random listener came and was like, remember when you was talking about doing this to stuff? I'm like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
right?
and honestly, that wouldn't even bother me. I
Yeah.
think there's nuances in it, and you can't be naive. And that does worry me. You're a little naive. Like, you don't notice when someone's flirting with you. Or you play yourself. You pretend you don't know.
I don't know. I just don't think
You'd be like, what? No, they didn't mean that.
it's innocent.
But whatever. Honestly, if you are naive to it, then who cares? Because then it's like, you're not going to feed into it.
Yeah.
But this got into a whole different conversation. But definitely, I don't think it's an excuse that if you're not able to talk about your sexual fantasies with your partner, the answer isn't go talk to someone else about it.
Yeah.
The answer is fix that. Not making your partner feel comfortable to speak to you about their sexual fantasies can be a mistake, as many of them interpret this as you feeling ashamed of them, which in turn may make them feel rejected. What is a kink that you feel like people are afraid to talk about?
Oh, we're taking it there. I think as a man, anything with ass play.
I literally wrote men and butt stuff, LOL.
I gave the mature one. She's like, butt stuff.
No, literally, I think that's 100% true. I think so many more men would be into it if the stigma wasn't attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm Jamaican, so, we don't do those things.
And it's like butt play is correlated, is instantly connected to like homosexuality, which is, it hurts the ego for men. But honestly, if a woman is playing with your butt,
and honestly, it's
gay.
not, I wouldn't put it all on the man, right? Because,
oh yeah,
you ask the wrong woman to do that.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a reaction you may not like, and that could like really do harm to.
Yeah. I'm not, 100%. I feel like men's fear in talking about ass play, it's, what's the word? Like, it's justified because most of the time people will shame them or judge them.
Or even worse than shaming them on the spot is doing it, enjoying it. Then the relationship goes sour, and it's like, that's why I put my
finger in your butt.
I was trying to censor myself, but yeah.
That brings up a good point. We should never throw our sexual kinks in our partner's faces when we're fighting. Like, that shit is toxic.
Or throw our partner's sexual kinks.
Yeah, like, let's say we enjoy some kinky shit in the bedroom, and then we have a fight, and I'm either sharing it with the world or throwing it in your face. I've heard, this is not a kink, but there's definitely, I've heard people argue and they're like, your dick is little or your pussy's whack. Like, people like to shame each other's sexual ability. And I think that's whack.
And it could be true, but it's also like you've been
sleeping with them this whole time. And now you want to talk about the size of his penis because you're mad.
So, yeah.
It's petty. Don't do that. Hold on. Women tend to feel ashamed too because they don't want to seem too promiscuous, like too experienced, or,
Listen, there's a lot as a man. I don't speak for all men. I speak for myself. When a woman is sure of herself in that department sexually and not afraid to say what she likes and doesn't like, that shit is a turn on. Honesty.
But that's you. A lot of men.
And that's why I say I
don't
don't speak for everyone. But I'm saying I'm sure there's other men with my mindset.
Yeah.
There's nothing sexier than someone who just knows what they want.
I remember I had a friend in college that went into college a virgin. And when she lost her virginity to her boyfriend, he kind of was like, you sure you are a virgin? And that shit hurts, like it was questioned because of however their sexual experience was. And it's not, which proves this, like women are afraid to, be good in bed because then they're looked at as a hoe.
I don't know if I ever told this story. Should I tell this story?
I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell it. I'll tell it on Patreon.
Okay.
It's just, it could be taken the wrong way.
Okay. All right. More of another point that Kiara made in this article that I thought was really interesting, and we kind of talked about this the other night. Remember that when people have sexual fantasies, it also does not always mean they want them to happen. I know many couples who daydream about threesomes, but know they would freak out if they saw their partner being pleased by another person. So allow yourself and your partner to daydream together. We just talked about this. And honestly, it's because of something we were going through, but I think I had read this and it was like in my subconscious.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that to you. And all right, whatever. You and I are like big talkers during sex. Like we use dirty talk as like a way to, increase the excitement,
the sensitivity,
whatever. We use it to turn ourselves on, right? So we were talking about that. Like we could talk really dirty and or express our fantasies, and it doesn't mean I need it to happen. It doesn't mean I'm not pleased with what we got going on. It's just fun to think about.
Yeah. And I don't think anything that we've ever discussed that I'm like, if this doesn't happen,
my sex life sucks.
Yeah. I think it would heighten something that we've already built, but it's not a necessity.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people get caught up in a lot of couples, the biggest thing, men want threesomes. And then they think without it, or they think once they get it, it's just going to be like this amazing thing. And truthfully, yeah, most of y'all won't know what y'all are doing. And listen, I didn't know what I was doing my first one.
And we've had really great ones, but our top tier sex experiences
is just us.
It's just us, honestly.
Hell yeah. And I'm not just saying this because she's here. There's a lot going on with another body in the room.
Yeah.
And I'd rather take my time. It's like, what's the safe example here? Like, let's say you had 2 canvases in front of you.
I'm scared.
But then you only had one
you
canvas
can focus
over here.
all your time
if
on.
you had to paint 2 canvases, it's not going to be that great.
One's with a left hand.
But if you had only one to paint, you could give it all the time it needs. Get all the spots, hit all the corner, make sure it's filled in. I think that one painting will look a lot better than those 2.
You did good, baby.
Smoked it.
I agree. It doesn't mean that they're not fun. We're not trying to kink shame or say don't ever have threesomes. Like, do what you will.
3 canvas. No.
But yeah, I think even if you're not ready to live out certain kinks or certain fantasies, I think just talking about them can be very satisfying.
And I think back to our earlier point, talking doesn't mean it has to happen, right? And I think that's something you need to have a conversation with your partner prior to maybe kind of messing with the conversation part of it, because I could see a man saying, we were talking about it all last night. I lined her up. She's gonna be here at 9:00. He's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So there's some sexiness in just having the conversation, and then there could be another conversation that's while your penis is not in her. Yeah. About like, are we really gonna do this? And then you might decide like, no. It was just fun to talk about.
Fun to talk about. And I've mentioned how like for me, sex is very mental. So I have things in my mind that are helping me like get in the mood, but still be present. Like I kind of just focus on certain sensations, but I'm always curious about what my partner's thinking. Like sometimes I'm like, what are you thinking about? Like I like to know like what's keeping you going.
Yeah. I'll be like, shut the fuck up. I'm dead. We talk.
Yeah. So I found this other article from Men's Health that talked about different kinks, right? These are the kinks and fetishes Americans fantasize about the most. So there's a list. And the first one is BDSM. You know what BDSM means?
That's something with like spanking and stuff.
With like, yeah, I always think of that like being dominated and shit.
Like dominatrix type stuff.
Exactly. So it's bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, sadism, and masochism. Whew. So those are all the like
the bitisms.
So I think masochism, I think of masoquita as like the Spanish version of it. So liking to be like hurt, like spanked. Okay. That's like the spanking part. Bondage is being, tied up. dominance and submission. I think everyone kind of likes a little bit of that, like being told what to do. And I feel like for women in our generation who have to be in their masculine so much in the real world, when it comes to sex, they kind of enjoy role playing a more submissive role.
And that's why you'll see like these older, or not, you'll just see men in general who like maybe have positions of power, but then they like to have like a dog collar and walked around on them and, you know, step on me with heels and just, you know, what I've heard.
Yeah, I think the same could be said for men who maybe work a corporate job or have this high leadership position that requires them to be super masculine all the time and super dominant. And then maybe when it comes to sex, they want to allow themselves to be submissive. So that was like the most popular one. Then they talked about different fetishes, right? So the fetishes one, we'll see. The single most common fetish fantasy involved, can you guess?
Feet.
Yes! Feet. And listen, I love my feet rubbed, but that's just like non-sexual physical touch for me. Like feet isn't a sexual fetish, if that makes sense.
Yeah, same for me, but I think it can be because it's you, if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't look at another woman's feet and back. But
Look at those.
Look at those
toes.
corns. But yours, I feel like because it's connected to you, I could maybe find some sexiness in there, but it's not like I don't need it.
Yeah, definitely. It says 1 in 7 adults say they've had a fantasy before in which feet or toes played a significant role.
I don't knock it.
All right. Another fantasy that people think about are body fluids.
I think that's mine.
Yeah, I'm definitely into body fluid. Which one?
Yes.
No, I'm laughing because I know, but there's different body fluids that are not
I was
that sexy
about
to us.
Saliva.
Okay, so it says male and female ejaculate, which I think is mine. Spit, breast milk. You don't got nothing to say?
Listen, you know.
Then the other two are kind of, I don't want to kink shame.
Oh,
urine and feces. Those were the least common, but there are people out there that like it. 2 girls, 1 cup.
No, come on.
So, baby, can you pronounce this word? This one with a V?
Voyeurism.
Voyeurism. So that's when you like to watch people undress. I think that could be hot. Kind of like strip teasing.
Yeah.
It gets creepy, though, when you're like a peeping Tom because you want to sneak on people.
What is it called if you want to be watched?
Let me see if that's... Oh, it's the next one. Exhibitionism.
Okay.
So you're performing or putting on a show for someone. So you're in the act and then there's someone or multiple people watching.
Okay.
You be into that?
I feel like I'd be into like someone watching us.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
one person, not like a auditorium or something.
You know what's crazy? Like how I say sex is mental. I feel like sometimes in my head, I tell myself I'm performing. Like that's what helps me like really get into my bag. Like pretend I'm
it's
either
like
being
lights, camera, action.
Yes, like I'm being filmed or someone's here and I need them to see that, you know, I got it.
That's interesting.
But I don't know how I would feel if someone was really there or if a camera was really on. I think I'd feel insecure.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a camera and it would have to be a woman.
Okay.
I don't need no dude watching.
I don't know. I will feel so insecure. Like if my chicho is sticking out here, or if I look really skinny, or my ass ain't shaking.
And it could go back to our earlier conversation. One of those things that just sounds sexy, like while you're saying it, but then when the person's sitting there and they're like eating popcorn, watching, like, I don't know.
So it's kind of like I think about it, and it helps, but I don't actually have to do it.
For sure.
This one's creepy. Age play.
Oh, that's like pretend I'm like, I don't know.
Like a schoolgirl.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
It could get like pedophile kind of.
Pedophile. Yeah. I don't.
How about this? You could pretend to be like a sugar daddy and act like an old man.
But then there's like a whole category for that in porn, and for me that's just like the gateway drug to,
or the legal way for pedophiles to like get their kinks off.
Yeah, not for me.
Sorry, trying not to kink shame, but that one's kind of shameful.
Yeah, it could potentially become shameful.
Furries dressing up as an animal to have sex.
I first heard of this. I used to be big into like playing online games, World of Warcraft, played it for many, many years.
Yeah.
And a few people in my guild were furries. And when it was explained to me at my young age, I was like, what the hell?
You was a nerd. The fuck? What's a guild?
I need some people in the comments to help me out and let Stephanie know that a lot of people play RPGs. And
I love you, my nerd.
Listen, while you were outside running from the cops, I was home.
No, I never ran from the cops. All right.
Or jumping the fence to get into the pool.
I never did that.
So yeah, I learned about it, and it's very interesting, but I can't wrap my hand around it. Mm-hmm. No kink
shaming. I feel like I'll wear like a cute little kitty suit.
I think one time we were watching Cut and they were doing that the buzzer thing, and someone walked in a furry.
Yeah. They wear like legit.
It looks like
costumes, like huge.
It looks
like a mascot.
Mascot. I was gonna say it's almost like anime inspired. Mm-hmm. Not for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see the costume side of it, but I feel like furries is like big mascot furry costumes. But I could see like, you know, a sexy nurse or a doctor like dress up, like role playing, but not necessarily furries.
And I could be completely wrong here, but I think a lot of people who lean into it are maybe don't find themselves to be attractive people. So putting on those costumes,
so you feel like
they have sex with the costumes on.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm never seeing you. We're just kind of exploring each other's genitalia with these costumes.
Yeah.
So
maybe not.
And I could be completely wrong. It'd probably be like,
no,
you know, J-Lo is a furry on the low.
I'm just turned on by the furry big helmet. Honestly, it looks so hot. And then I think about like all the hair going in my vagina. And maybe it's an irrational fear.
Or maybe they think about it and go, ooh.
They think about, ooh, let me pull that hairball out of your puss. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I always say I take it too far.
All right. Gender play, cross-dressing, related to BDSM with subs versus doms.
No, I can't. I can't wrap my head around that one. That's a little like, I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing right now, but no.
You're not into it.
No.
I would like it with a woman. Like, you know, one of us wears a strap and we're like being super dominant.
And your name is Stefan.
Ew, if I was a guy, I would never make that my name. I don't even know what my name would be. No, I had an ex named Steven.
Well, without him being your ex, well, I guess you can't.
Yeah. I don't even know what it would be, honestly.
$.
Dollar sign?
S.
No. Cuckolding. How do you say it? Cuckolding?
Cuckolding.
With an H?
It's kind of like a H in there. Cuckolding.
Cuckolding. Okay. You know what that is?
We
talked about it once.
That's like when you don't release.
No.
What's that?
Cuckolding.
That's when you like to watch your partner be with other people.
Yeah. So like if you were the watching me perform with another person.
Why you had to say me watching you? Like, why can't you watch me?
I mean, honestly, I don't think I'd be 100% against that. Watching you be with someone else.
I don't see the point. I'd be like, get in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like I knew someone who got like asked by a couple. Like a man asked another dude to like
come fuck my wife.
Basically.
Oh my God, no. One dick forever for me.
Okay.
I don't want to be with no other guy.
Like a flesh one though.
Yeah. Plastic, maybe. No, yeah, too much. I don't need any more masculine energy in my life. The last one was food and sex. Ice cubes, strawberries, whipped cream.
Not much my thing. I think have we done ice? I feel like we've done ice before.
Maybe like in the very
Years
beginning.
ago. Yeah, it's not really my thing. I could do without it.
Yeah, I'm definitely afraid of sugary foods like whipped cream and strawberries because I don't want sugar on my vagina.
Fucking up your pH.
Yeah, I'm way too paranoid with that. So I don't like that kind of stuff. But ice was cool. There's water and it's like cold and you kind of playing with cold and hot.
So we've talked about all these kinks and I feel like we've kind of gotten off topic because the whole point of this was talking to your partner about your sexual desires, like how to express that.
Yes.
And not basically hold it in, right?
Yes.
That's difficult because even as well as me and you communicate and as much time as we have into this whole marriage thing, sometimes I'm a little like, how do I express this?
Yeah. I feel like the other day, I'm not going to say what we were talking about, but we were like having sex and you asked me a question and I lied initially. And then I was like, I lied because it was weird for me to actually tell you what I was thinking. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. So I feel like it could be uncomfortable. And I feel like it's the shame, like feeling like you're going to be like, what the fuck? You were thinking that? Like I was trying to be sexy, but I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Yeah, I think I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just, you have to be honest with yourself because back to a previous topic, it's like if you're not expressing this to your partner, you could potentially look elsewhere. There could be someone who does make you feel comfortable to express those things. And then next thing you know, you are in an emotional cheating situation and which could potentially easily transition to a physical one. Yeah. So I think you need to like push yourself to have those tough conversations because if this is someone who's going to be your life partner, but you never really take it there, is it real? Like,
yeah. Honestly, I feel like maybe emotionally cheating situations can be like practice for you to actually talk about it with your partner.
That's crazy messaging. What are you saying?
No, I just feel like I'm not saying, talk to someone else. But if it just happened, like you're close with a friend, you're close with someone, and you're able to have open communication about certain things that you're afraid to talk about with your partner, it could be like practice. Like it could help you find the right language to make it easier to go talk with your partner.
And then your partner finds out how you mustered up the courage. And it's like, it's
going to suck. It's going to be tough to hear, but I wouldn't think like of you as a terrible person. Like, how dare you open up to someone that wasn't me?
But it kind of sounds like you're talking about like a friend thing, not more so an emotional cheating thing.
Yeah, like someone you know, an acquaintance, someone that you talk to. Yeah. Obviously, I don't mean go in chat rooms and try to talk about sex with people, but certain times friendships, platonic friendships could lead into conversations that your partner probably doesn't want you to have. But I feel like it could be practice, like, level 1.
I hear you, but just be careful.
Be careful, yes.
It can get slippery.
Absolutely.
Literally and figuratively.
Hey, yo.
How we looking? How we feeling?
I think we're good. Is there anything else you want to say about kinks or about feminine, masculine energy?
No, I think men express your needs. I think women be more open to hearing it, even if you're not willing to do it. Don't judge. Like, let's say your man wanted some ass play. Maybe let's say your man wanted you to put on a strap, and you're like, oh hell no.
Yeah.
But then now you're looking at him like, if he wanted that from me, he probably wanted it from some dude. And it's like, it doesn't mean that. I
feel like we have to check our own biases, and that right there is rooted in not homosexuality, homophobia, like we have to acknowledge that, like, oh shit, is this because society deems this as homosexual, even though I'm a woman, Also, I feel like we have to ask our partners if they're ready. Like, you want to try something new before you just try to do it, or before you just ask for it. Yeah. I think you can start by just talking about what you already do. What?
I think you could start with a finger and
No. I meant the communication part. Like, just talk about your sex in general, your vanilla ass sex. Just talk about it. No, I'm kidding. But whatever you already do, talk about it. Because you can't talk about a kink that you've never explored if you can't even talk about what you already are doing.
That's a good point. That's a good test. Hell yeah, I like that as advice.
And some people genuinely like don't talk about sex at all. Like, even if a partner's initiating sex and they say no, it's never talked about. It's just like, okay, you look away, you feel a little embarrassed, rejected, and then there's no communication. And we have to start being able to talk.
Yeah.
Like, no, not right now, but I'll suck your dick later. You know, like, just be open. And it's hard, but start there.
I really like that advice, talking about what you already do.
And using words of affirmation, like, be like, I really liked that. Or you should do more of this because that felt great. You know, like, talk about the things you like, and it's easier. And then you don't really have to talk about the things you don't like, because they'll focus on the things you do like.
That's bars. I like that. That's a way to put a ribbon on it.
Yeah.
My love.
Daddy.
Do you still like me?
I still like you.
Do you like me in my We Still Like Each Other shirts?
I absolutely love it.
You think everyone should buy one, right?
I latte love it.
You're the yin to my yang.
Everyone should purchase one. They're handmade. Well, obviously I didn't stitch the shirts, but I hand pressed the designs on them. It actually has a little logo on the back as well. So I put a lot of love into it. And
the stickers, the creativity is A1.
Who created the stickers, babe?
It was a joint collaboration between, you see, I couldn't even say it properly. My lovely wife. Yeah, she really stepped into her, which energy is that?
Creative energy? I mean, I think that's feminine.
Your feminine energy. You were giving life to these stickers. Yeah. So check them out. Monday, 12 p.m. We still like each other.com. Did I ask if you already like me?
You did.
Do you still like me again?
I think you said, do you still like me in my shirt? Oh. But yes, I still like you.
I love you.
I love you more, Daddy.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.